Hello and welcome back. It's our Gone Solo Troika campaign. I am your host and storyteller, Royce Rosewood. Before we get started, I wanted to share something really exciting. We got our first piece of fan art, so I'm going to go ahead and bring that up on the screen. This is by Chocolips or Brandon Yu. I'll link to his channels. I just think this is so cool. This is so fun to have fans respond in this way. So I know I shared it before, but because of the way that I film these videos, there's a delay. I've got several weeks filmed already. So I already shared this everywhere, but this is my first chance on the channel, on the video, to talk about it. So go follow his stuff. He's got some great solo plays of Morkborg. He draws the characters and the monsters as he plays along. So it's a really cool spin. He can use his illustration skills to enhance the experience. So thanks so much, Brandon. I love it. It's great. So if you have fan art or any response, I'd love to share it. This is so fun for me to interact with the fans in this way. So the other sort of bookkeeping thing, last episode we introduced a character named Dragogg, but I've decided, because we're also in search of an egg, to change his name to Dragogg. It was just too much egg. Drago egg, search for the egg. I don't really like eggs, so change that name. So that is where we're at. So in our last episode, Magnaza and Tijam confronted the frostbug in the lair and were defeated. Oh no. So that was, it was what it was, but I've had a lot of time to think about it. And I think we'll be okay. So we started over. The structure that I set up was that when the characters die, we go back to the wizard, MacLeod, who comes up with a new quest. Originally, the plan was that the characters would be defeated on the quest for something, and if they fail, then MacLeod gets more heroes. But the way things turned out, they weren't currently on a quest for MacLeod, so that's why it kind of feels like more of a hard reset. But it's okay. I'm trusting the structure. I'm trusting our oracles that will all bring us together. So we started out with some new characters: Dragogg, the mathemologist, and Goldbone, the journeyman assassin, who MacLeod sent out to find a balloon beast egg. And they didn't know where to find such a thing, so they went out. There was a library out in the rural parts beyond Troika in an area called Diaprise. They fought a knight of the road on the way. Dragogg is upset that Goldbone, the assassin, didn't contribute more to that combat. They got to the library. They found nothing. In fact, the librarian scoffed at them for even suggesting that they might be able to find this. So this is very rare, very hard to find. But they did find a hint of, in a nearby ruins, a mushroom that would allow you to grow to great size, a la Mario. So they're going to go try to find that as a helpful thing, because they have currently no leads on a balloon beast egg. So that is where we are going. Oh, another bookkeeping thing. I was a little hasty and I cleared off all of Magnaza's threads, but I'm going to keep them on. I think the only thing I'm dropping is the ogre push thread, just because everything else felt unresolved. So I'm going to, let the dice guide us. And if one of those threads comes back up, we'll see how it weaves back in. We just have no idea where the story's going to go. But narratively, as a storyteller, I just feel like it's all going to come together. It's all going to come together. I just don't know how it's going to do it yet. So that's where we're going. So let's go ahead. Let's find out. All right. So after a night of rest, of sleeping in the library, Dragogg and Goldbone get up. They've got their map. They've got the directions to the ruins, which are nearby, but it's going to take a little bit to get there. They're a little further away, based on the roll that we got. So it's going to take a little bit to get there. But they're going to go after this growing mushroom because Goldbone feels like it will give her some confidence. As a new assassin, she thinks if she's very big, it's going to help her feel more confident. So we'll see how this goes. So before we head out, I've been sort of assuming that this is sort of like farmland, but I've got this environment table that I haven't really used, so I'm going to roll to see what the environment is like on the way in this Diaprise area. I'm going to see what we've got. Okay, rivers. Okay, great. This we can work. So we're going to say that they run along a river. There's the path or the trail runs along a river. I'm just going to add that to our little index card map of Diaprise. As they head off, I think it's going to take them, I think there's going to be kind of like one stop along the way before we get to the ruins. So they're heading to that first landmark, and what on our event table comes to bear? 3. We're going to roll on our thread table. Okay. 1, 2. Pointage. Okay. Pointage streams of destruction. Okay, well, Pointage is looping back in. The last time we saw Pointage, he was trying to destroy the Tree of God's Reign with his acid breath. He was spewing acid from his mouth as part of this potion that he had gotten. And Magnaza told him to, not do that and to go off. And for some reason, Pointage listened to Magnaza. So what's going on with Pointage? All right, we got a flashlight. So let's say Dragogg and Goldbone are coming along this path, and it's rocky. There's large, like smoothed over river rocks. And sitting on one of these rocks, they see the figure. Our dwarf Pointage, wings folded, and he's thinking very deeply. But he does seem to be in a little bit of distress. He's not really sure, what's going on. So Goldbone approaches. We're gonna make this a character moment for Goldbone, where she's gonna reach out to this figure in distress, and she comes up and says, "Hey, buddy, hey, are you okay? You doing okay?" And Pointage is just like staring into the river. "Well, I'm thinking about something. I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to be thinking about it." And Goldbone says, "Well, do you want to talk about it? And I don't know. Maybe we can help." Dragogg is like, "Well, I'm not really sure this is any of our business, Goldbone." Goldbone waves him off. Shut up. Goldbone says, "Yeah, I'm happy to listen." So Pointage says, "Well, I was trying to destroy a giant tree with an acid breath potion, and I ran into someone, and she told me not to. And so I decided to not do it." And Goldbone says, "Well, that makes sense." And he says, "You don't understand. This is my dream. My dream is to destroy things. That's what I've been built for. That's what's inside me. That's what drives me. But I stopped." "Oh, well, who was this person?" "Someone who I had met very briefly. We did a job together. And when I saw her again, I couldn't help myself. I wanted to follow what you did. It went against everything that is inside me. Why didn't I destroy it? Why did I listen to her? I don't understand." No, Goldbone says, "Well, sometimes when we meet people, we start to care about what they care about, and we start to care about their opinions. Maybe, there was something about her and you wanted to listen to her. That doesn't sound so weird to me." Portia just kind of looks at Goldbone and says, Perhaps I should go find her. She was heading to God's Reign. Well, perhaps I I'll go track her down and see what was going on. I feel like I'm starting to see the light. I was getting there. I was using that story cube. I was getting there. Don't you worry, friends. And Goldbone's like, well, I'm glad. I'm glad we could kind of help you work through that. Help you talk through that. Well, maybe we'll see you around. And Pointed flaps his wings and flies off. And in the very distance, yeah, they can maybe see the very top of the tree, the tree of God's reign. And there it goes. Well, that was an interesting encounter with little things weaving back in and out. What is this stop along the way? They've got to make a stop. There's a point of interest somewhere along this river. So we're going to find out what that is. 41. There's a theater. Oh, God. Okay. We know we're sort of out in the wilderness, so it's going to be some sort of like outdoor theater. So they come along. They've been, traveling. The dwarf that they ran into, the winged dwarf, is pretty much the only event of note that's happened today. But they come to their first stop, and a little bit off of the river, there's a path that goes, and there's sort of a natural hill and a natural amphitheater, and there's benches, sort of carved out of the ground. It's all sort of grown over. It's very grassy, and there's like a little theater. Is there anybody here? No, absolutely not. It is abandoned. It has been long abandoned. There's nothing here. And we know that we're headed towards some ruins. So it's possible that there was maybe once a much larger sort of city or, area here. But now there's nothing. Nobody lives here. And this is maybe on the outskirts of where we were headed. They make their camp for the night. So we're going to give Dragogg another chance to recover some stamina. So 6. That'll put him almost back up to full. So he's at 17 of 18. That is the first day as they're heading out to the ruins. So the second day, they're going to head back out. We're going to another event. What's going to happen today? 5. An issue between the two of them, between Dragogg and Goldbone. So, what is going on? Is a butterfly or a moth? As they're, continuing along their trail along the river, maybe along the way they see sort of more abandoned, grown over, buildings, collapsed buildings as they get closer and closer to these ruins. Goldbone is kind of like, trying to like be all alert and like be sneaky and like sneak ahead. And Dragogg is watching her. And Dragogg says, "Can I ask you a question?" And Goldbone says, Yeah, sure, that's fine. Ask me a question. And Dragogg says, "You are new at this, I assume. Is that right?" And I just noticed that this is crooked. I'm going to fix this. Man, you've probably been looking at that. That's been bothering you. Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. Anyway, fix that background thing. All right, back into our scene. Dragogg says, "You're new at this, aren't you?" Goldbone says, "Wow, why would you say that?" And Dragogg says, "Just a guess, your age and, your relative comfort. Just a guess." And Goldbone says, Yeah. Is it really that obvious? This is my very, very first job as an assassin. I'm fresh out of the guild. All the training stuff, but it's different. it's different when you're out here, and I'm just trying to do my best. You are like as a moth freshly hatched from its cocoon. And Goldbone says, yeah, I guess so. That's kind of a weird thing to say, but yeah. And Dragogg says, well, I do not know about being an assassin, but I do know about learning. I am quite learned. And all I can say is, sometimes you just start. You just have to start. And you don't know what you're doing at first. But as you keep learning, you get better and better and better. So don't feel like you have to impress me or prove to me that you need to be here. It's okay. I understand your situation. And Goldbone says, oh, thank goodness, it was so exhausting. But even so, that being said, if we need to fight, I would rather you do it, because I'm not a fighter. I know I have this astrolabe that I can smack people with, but I'd rather not. It's kind of a delicate instrument. Goes, okay, I'll do my best. Dragogg said, you'll be fine. So later that day, they make it to the ruins indicated on the map, and this is the ruins of a what? Anything in particular? This used to be, it says museum. It's all overgrown. So there's sort of like this crumbling museum. So there's the facade, and maybe it's all, there's a whole section of it that's destroyed over, and lots of rooms for where they kept exhibits and artifacts, and I wonder if there's anything left over. Maybe, depending how long this place has been abandoned, it might be pretty picked over, but there may be a chance to find some sort of cool artifact. That would be neat. I assume that this is not one specific mushroom. It's a species or kind of mushroom, and the only reason I specify that is because Dragogg has this find spell which he can use to find things, but he has to find specific things. It can't be like a general category of things. So they are gonna look around, see if they can find this mushroom that they're looking for. Well, Dragogg doesn't find anything. But Goldbone does. Great. That was a great roll, Goldbone. Nice job. See, you got this. You know what's up. So they're poking around the ruins of this abandoned museum. And Goldbone says, oh, over here. And sort of on the larger grounds, it's all overgrown. It's all grassy, and there's trees and bushes and stuff. But there's let's say it's like a fairy ring. Yeah, a fairy ring of these mushrooms. And they are, popping up, and they look just as described as it was on the map. Well, is there any further complication, or... No, not a complication, but there's something going on that we don't know about. So we'll just sort of leave that open. They, pick the mushrooms, and they, put them away. Do they pick all of them? Yeah, I think so. I think they pick them all, and they've got their little stash. So we'll give them that in their inventory. Sack of growing mushrooms. So they've each got some. They've got some supply. This was useful. This is not what they were looking for, but it's always nice to have a useful magical thing. But I think that night there's something happens. I don't think you get something like this for free. That's not how my instincts work. We got a pyramid. What if... Oh, this would be really weird. I was thinking the pyramid is like from a really long time ago, and we know there were these ruins. And there's obviously something magical going on here with these mushrooms. So what if they go to sleep, and when they wake up, they're in the past, okay? And they're in... It's the heyday of... whatever this city, this was Diaprise. right? This was the city of Diaprise. That's why this region is called that. And they wake up, and they're kind of in the middle of the street, and so there are people bustling past, like, hey, vagrants, and there's like maybe a soldier or something comes up and kind of kicks at them, and it's like, find some other place to be. You can't sleep on the street. Get up, and they wake up, and they're all groggy, and they're like, what is this place was empty, but they see there's this museum. It's all it's fully repaired. It's shiny. It's new. There are avenues, and people are starting to bustle. It's still early morning. It's not bustling, but people are starting to move around. There's carts being pulled by beasts, or horses, or something fantastical or whatever. Dragogg and Goldbone are looking at each other, and they're like, what is this? What's happening? Are they hallucinating? They didn't eat the mushrooms yet. They weren't ready to test them. They sort of find a little, alcove off to the side of the street. And Dragogg, maybe it's still sort of dusk, and there's maybe like a few stars that Dragogg is able to see. And he's going to, test his astrology and see if, and so based on the positions of things and his knowledge, he says, this is not the time that it was. This is, we are in a different time. I don't know how to explain this other than magic, which is very common in our world. How far back in time are they? Oh, quite, so I got a 3 out of 6. Maybe this is like 100, 200 years ago. We've got to get back. We have things to do. We don't belong in this time. And Goldbone is just like, this is totally beyond anything that she was expecting. All right, so what are they going to do? Well, they've got to get back. Is there any sort of calculation or that Dragogg can do? What do they need to do? Nope, he failed that one. This is beyond his understanding. Math is math, but when you start moving in time, they're at the they're nearby the museum, so maybe they'll go into the museum and see who's here. See if there's somebody for them to meet and talk to. All right, 3, 2, 3. We've got a resigned 216. All right, lawyer. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. Obviously, some event is going to befall Diaprise at some point, and it has to be long enough ago that it's totally overgrown, total ruins. Something happened. Based on the timing, I think it might be just about to happen. This is, if you had got transported to Pompeii, a couple days, a week before the volcano, right? Say. And we've run into this lawyer, so who's resigned, right? And what is her name? Okay, we've got an octopus that has tentacles, and we've got musical notes. We'll call her To Note. So they go into the museum, and there's things on display. It could be art, maybe there's paintings. Yeah, we'll say it's paintings. It was an art museum. And there's a bench in front of one of these massive paintings. What's in the painting? Just a little detail. It's the painting of a ray gun. So maybe it's like a battle, right? And people have got their ray guns and shoot each other. Remember, this is a science fantasy, right? We've been hitting pretty hard on the fantasy, but there's like technology and stuff. So some sort of battle being fought with lasers, and Goldbone notices, again, someone in distress. And Goldbone, we're learning, has strong empathy. So she notices this woman who's, dressed for court, but it's like a little disheveled, and is just sort of like staring at this painting, just like, with this incredible expression on her face, just like, I don't know what to do. And Goldbone, because this is the kind of person Goldbone is, goes up and says, hey, Are you okay? And the lawyer said, oh, so I don't know. It's just, I just don't know what to do. Goldbone says, well, talk to me about it. Let's see. And again, Dragogg sort of replaying the same scenario. Dragogg is like, why are we helping sad people? This is not what we're here to do. But maybe it is. The lawyer says, well, I lost my case. I was trying to help the people of Diaprise, but they just won't listen to reason. And now I don't know what to do. What's the problem? What's the issue? A magic mirror. The fancy mirror makes me think of an elite, or if it's a magic mirror, maybe a wizard. Maybe there's we've got wizards running in and out. Maybe there's like a wizard king here in Diaprise who is not being attentive to the needs of the people. Perhaps. What is their name? Grinshout. I can't get Grinshout to see reason. Catastrophe could follow us on any day, and he's not willing to take action. I did what I could, and it wasn't enough. And now I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how much time we have, but I don't believe we're going to survive this. And Goldbone says, well, what kind of catastrophe? What's going to happen? It's like a robot tripod. There are invaders from another sphere. They're going to come here, and they're going to destroy everything. And no one believes me. No one believes me. And look, and she looks at the painting. It's like, we used to fight. We used to defend ourselves with lasers, and now what are we? We're just sitting ducks. I don't understand why no one will believe me. Dragogg's an educated person. Does Dragogg know the history of Diaprise? Yes. Okay, he knows the story, yeah. He's doing a little bit of math in his head, and that's his thing. He says, and he comes to the realization of where they are in the timeline. And it must be, he doesn't know exactly how much time they have, but they must be getting real close based on, the stars. It's imminent. And he knows about this attack that happens, these machines from another sphere that come weird, attack. It's a science fantasy. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Dragogg kind of pulls Goldbone aside. Sorry, I'll be right with you. And Dragogg says, listen, I don't know how well you know your history, but we're in Diaprise, and we are right here before the machine attack, the tripod attack, that collapses this place and sends it to ruin. I don't know why or how, but we are here, and we might have an opportunity to change things. And Goldbone says, well, are we supposed... I don't know. Is that what we're supposed to do? Is that okay? If we change the past, what's going to happen? And Dragogg's involved. I don't know. They go back to... what did we call her? To note. And Dragogg introduced himself. I don't mean to interfere, but I did overhear a conversation. I'm here with Goldbone, and you may not believe this, but we are from the future. Tanote says, that's kind of weird. I know it may be hard to hear, but we are from, about 200 years in the future. We camped in the ruins of Diaprise, and we woke up here. Well, now I know what it's like to be on the other side of people telling you things that you can't believe. It would be wrong of me to not believe you after I've struggled to convince people that, yes, there are machines from a distant sphere coming to attack us, but I guess what choice do I have? You say you're from the future and you know what happens. Dragogg said, yes. And you are correct. The machines do come and they destroyed Diaprise, and the settlement is at least in the next 200 years is not resettled again. In fact, it's one of the things that gives rise to Troika. It says Troika, that tiny little town not too far away. Really? And Dragogg says, yes, well, after the attack, people scatter and the balance of power shifts, and Troika becomes the vast metropolis that it is, well, in our time. I was going to say today, but it's not today. It becomes the vast metropolis that is. This is very confusing to talk about time travel. And she says, well, what can we do? Dragogg says, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's our responsibility to change the past. But we've been given this opportunity, and we are here. I don't know, Goldbone, what do you think? Goldbone says, well, yeah, I guess... I mean, if we had the opportunity to prevent a disaster, why wouldn't we? Here we are. I feel totally ill-equipped and totally out of my depth here, but maybe we have the opportunity to change history. But is it history that we want to change? Do we not want Troika to become the vast metropolis that it is? I mean, who knows what other consequences that could happen? We may not even be born. We may not even exist. Dragogg says, well, I don't know. My suspicion is this has something to do with those mushrooms we picked. Some strange cost. I know you've already gone to speak to your king, your wizard king. Grinshot the Foolish, we call him, in the future. But maybe we can convince him, us being from the future. We can go and we can convince him and we can prevent this catastrophe. Tenote says, well, I'm happy for any help that you can provide. Right. All right. Well, I think we're going to leave it there. Whoa! Things take a weird turn. You don't know where they're going to end up. I don't know where they're going to end up. You roll a die with a pyramid, and all of a sudden you're in the past, and you're learning about the past of the Troika. This is real weird, but I'm going with it. I'm trusting it. We still got wizards. We've got robots coming from space. This is cool. So I'm really digging this. Thanks for sticking around. If you're enjoying this, if you're into it, I appreciate it. At least you can do like, if you want to hear more, if you want to get updates, subscribe. You can share it with someone who you think might like it. That would be really appreciated. So thanks so much. This is Science Fantasy Awesome, and you're awesome.